And in her confessional, she tells the camera that she really shouldn't be in trouble because, and she has this list of reasons in her phone. She says she's actually going through something right now. And by the way, Mercury has also been in retrograde this entire time. And by the way, she and her ex weren't really having sex. So maybe if she was getting laid, she would be happier. Hello, Bravo bosses. This is the Bravo Investigator Podcast. I'm your host, Dana, and today we are talking about, yes, you hear me, Vanderpump Rules. Okay, guys, season 12, Vanderpump Rules. I never thought we'd be here. I never thought I'd be covering this, but I actually kind of enjoyed it. So I thought, you know what? Why don't we do an episode today? So happy Wednesday, is it? It's Wednesday. Happy Wednesday, everyone. I hope you've had a good week so far. Mine has sucked because on Monday I got fired. Um, I don't even know what to say about it because I'm still like, I think I'm still processing. I had an okay day on Monday when it happened. It happened at like 8:30 in the morning. Somebody else was fired as well. And that kind of makes me feel better in like a weird way because then it wasn't as personal, even though it was personal. At least it's just so insane to me because we're in a place of having such insane deadlines. We have so much work and they're going to get rid of two people right before Christmas. It's just absolutely insane to me. I can't believe how much my team lead, who became manager only 3 months ago, has really run this entire place into the ground because half the team is also applying for jobs as well. So this is my first time being like literally unemployed because what happened last year is like I quit and I quit like immediately, but the job, another job, like the job that I just left, they ended up contacting me right away. And I had enough severance from the other job to cover in between. And so I wasn't really unemployed in a way and it all just kind of worked out. But I have like nothing on the horizon. I've reached out to every sort of contact that I know. No one really has anything. I've been applying for jobs. I've been applying for jobs all year though. And the other problem is like in the summer when I already knew things were bad and I was applying for jobs, I ended up like not following through with the interview process for some of those jobs because I was just like, you know what, I really want to try to make it work here. And like, and I don't know if I even regret that because now I've been at this job for a year and hopefully I can leverage this 1 year of decision writing as like writing experience that I could use like at a job in the future because that's what I want to do. But I don't know what I'm going to do. It's also, like I said, before Christmas, there are no jobs. I don't know what I'm going to do. So I don't want to be too depressing. And I just am trying to figure out like what I'm going to do podcast wise, because I figure, you know what, this should be a 5 day a week show now because what else am I doing? So I decided on Monday, tell me if you guys like this. Monday, reality roundup. Tuesday, 90 Day Fiance, because a new season is coming back. Okay. So I was thinking about doing 90 Day Fiance. Then Wednesday, I'll do Vanderpump Rules / Salt Lake City. And then Thursday, I'll do Southern Charm. And Friday, I'll do Beverly Hills. And that pretty much rounds it out, right? And then obviously we still have the Patreon where I'll be covering, I believe, Vanderpump Rules from the beginning. And by that, I mean the OG Vanderpump Rules. That's the plan, unless some other new show comes out that we'll want to see soon. And obviously any love shows that come out, like Love is Blind, Perfect Match, I will obviously always still cover. So I figured this might as well become a 5 day a week show. Why not? I have the time now. But yeah, I don't want to not be podcasting to you guys because I'm feeling sad, but at the same time, maybe it'll help boost my, what's the word? Serotonin. Serotonin. But I also just don't want to be putting out like shitty quality stuff to you guys because I'm like depressed, right? So, I hope you can give me a little bit of grace. I'm going to take a little bit of water and we can get started. But one thing I just wanted to make sure to let you guys know is this is my first YouTube episode on my new YouTube channel. So it is www.youtube.com/@the Bravo Investigator. I will link it in the show notes. I will show it everywhere. I'll put it on Instagram. It'll be, in the show notes. It'll be everywhere. Don't worry. You'll figure it out. But I'm excited to have my own YouTube channel and then you can check out all of my stuff there. I deleted everything that used to be there because I had started a channel a long time ago and now I'm coming back to it. So I just got rid of everything. So it's going to be everything from now on, except for like a few big interviews that I've done in the past that I just wanted to keep there for you guys if you want to go back and watch those. So I hope you guys are excited about me having a YouTube channel. This is going to be great. And like I said, I don't think every episode that's on YouTube is going to be a video episode, if you know what I mean. Monday Reality Roundups will always be, any interview I do will always be video, but I will still be uploading audio episodes to YouTube if I'm doing just an audio episode. So you'll just be watching like the black screen or whatever. So you know what I mean? All right, so I think that's everything. And like I mentioned, extra episodes, patreon.com/the Bravo Investigator podcast. Follow me on Threads, Instagram, and TikTok at the Bravo Investigator. And oh, I'm doing my new influencer thing. So follow my new influencer account, Instagram and TikTok at Stressed and Obsessed in Toronto. Okay, let's get to it. Vanderpump Rules. Now, I had heard a couple people say, I'll preface this with saying I was not going to watch this. I didn't want to watch it. I didn't want it. And I wasn't going to let myself be one of those people that was, going to end up liking it and have to eat my words. But in my own defense, I'm going to say that I'm looking at it differently than the old Vanderpump Rules. That was the advice that I got. Okay. Because it actually played at BravoCon. I didn't actually even go watch it. I didn't have any interest. There's been news about some of the cast members going around for the past few months. Haven't had any interest. I don't even think I watched the full trailer, to be honest. I was just like, I don't care about this. But when a couple of big podcasters, Ryan Bailey, shout out Ryan Bailey, mentioned that he thought it was really good, I trust his opinion, so I thought I'd give it a whirl. And his piece of advice was to treat it differently than Vanderpump Rules. Look at it as a whole new show. So that's what I did. And I kind of liked it. I'm sorry, you guys. I kind of liked it. It had a couple of characters that I enjoyed. What I disliked most about it, I'll have to say, and this is such a crazy thing for me to say, but what I disliked most about the new Vanderpump Rules is that I didn't find anyone attractive. Now, that sounds so crazy to say, especially coming from me, who never talks about looks. But like, I don't know, you kind of want to have that person that you like have your eye on. Does that make sense? Like, I guess like the person that you root for is also the person you're attracted to in a sense, right? Not even sexually, just like, I don't know. I just wasn't like into the looks of anybody. Um, they all genuinely work at SUR. There's one person who works there who was on a couple dating reality shows before. I think he was on Dated and Related and Perfect Match. So I don't love that because one of my concerns going into this show was that it was going to be just like a bunch of influencers. And, it doesn't really necessarily feel that way yet. So I'm happy about that. They do seem genuinely like poor, which is good, right? That's what we want in these cast members because then they're like hungry for like the drama and to win at this, right? Because if they don't need it, then why would they perform well, I guess. Another worry I had was that they were going to be trying too hard to try to be like old Vanderpump Rules characters. And I really didn't feel like that. Now, some people online did feel that way, and I just didn't. Like, I really didn't feel like there was anyone trying to be anyone. And I really tried to go into it not looking at anyone and saying like, oh, that's the Stassi character, or, oh, that's the Kristen character. That being said, there were still a couple of people where I was like, oh, okay, I see like some elements of this person in this person, but I really just didn't feel like anyone was trying to be anything other than themselves. And I don't know. I think it has potential because there's a couple of characters, specifically Natalie, and we'll get to her later, who's sort of like the kind of chaos agent that we need in these kinds of shows, where she just goes off for absolutely no reason, has complete fights with people in public, and that's the essence of this show. It's the kind of thing that just doesn't exist anywhere else because no one does that. So it's just I think that if you're gonna have some characters who are willing to do those Vanderpump Rules style fights, maybe we could win here. And if we have characters who we could eventually fall in love with, then maybe we have a shot. So far, there's no one that I've fallen in love with where I like kind of care about what happens to them, which is also the struggle with shows like Love Island. You just never really get to know them well enough because there's so many episodes, there's so many characters that it's hard to like invest in anyone. That's the hard part. And you have to be able to invest in your characters if you're going to be watching a show. It just is what it is. So at this stage, I have not invested in anyone, but I'm looking forward to it. Okay, so it opens with Lisa Vanderpump, our matriarch, who's there for some reason. And I still hate her, by the way. Like, none of that has gone away. I still feel like she serves no purpose, but she served her typical purpose in this show, being like, the narrator at the beginning saying that SUR has been in business for 20 years, which is crazy, right? You have to think about that. I mean, When I did an episode with Sophie Ross about the downfall of Lisa Vanderpump, she said that everyone that goes to Sir are like Vanderpump Rules fans. But how could that be? Because how could they have existed for like lunch and dinner, Monday to Sunday, just on fans? Like, that can't be. But I hear the food is absolutely terrible. All right, so our first character is Venus, and he has like this long mermaidy hair, and it's like kind of like a light, dirty brown. He's interesting looking for sure. He said that Sir is the best job he's ever had. It reminds him of high school because everyone is hot and fucking each other, and everyone is lunatics. Which, again, this is the essence of what we need in our Vanderpump Rules show. So thank you, Venus. Thank you for saying this. Then we have Natalie. She is our chaos agent, okay, who I mentioned earlier. She started working at Sir in May 2023, the same day as Venus. Now, initially, she didn't like him because all he used to do all day at work was take pictures of himself. But then they ended up becoming besties, and yeah, the rest is history. So she says that she is the best bartender, she is the fastest, the most creative, and she looks cute. So that gave me a little Kristen Doty because, like, episode one, Kristen Doty of Vanderpump Rules, even though I said I tried not to compare, episode one was very, oh, like, everyone who works here is hot. Sorry. So it did give me a bit of that. Then we have Chris. Chris is the guy who was on the two reality shows. And he's pretty honest about why he's here. So you kind of can't hate it because he's like, look, I'm at certain network. People have told me that I have this Hollywood look. He tries to pull this Robert De Niro thing. A little bit, a little bit. He looks a little bit like him. So apparently, this crazy thing happens the week prior where Natalie's family's in town. She gets pissed drunk. She and her family go to Sir, and her ex boyfriend Paulo is working there, and they get in this big fight. Now, Paulo, who they do not show on screen, which is weird because if he works there, I don't know why he can't be shown on screen, but he's 54 years old. Okay. And Natalie is 26. So many questions here. Why is she dating someone who's 54? She says he's a hot 54, but still. Why is this guy working at Sir at 54 years old? And why can't he film? Like, I'm really curious about this. So Natalie, gets drunk, loses her shit, starts a fight with Paulo, and this other girl, Demi, we're gonna call her Demi. Yeah, Demi, different than Demi. Demi ends up having to ask her to leave because she's creating a complete like riot, like chaos at Sir, which I wish they were there to pick up the cameras for, but we did get to see a little bit of like what do you call it, surveillance footage. Okay, then we have Marcus. He thinks that Sir is his playground. He's like, everybody here loves me. He doesn't really work. He just like pretty much just drinks all day on his shift and he doesn't take the job very seriously. Now he kind of looks like a turtle. There's something turtleish about him. He looks familiar to me in some way, but something like a turtle. And he also dresses, or maybe just in that first confessional, he looks like really button up and like not supposed to be here because the way he talks about himself is like he's this major fuck boy, but he's dressed with like a collar, so it just felt weird. I don't know. He doesn't look the way he talks about himself, but maybe that will change in time. Also, like he calls himself, I forget exactly the term he uses, but basically like a D-list model, and that like instead of going to good models, like agencies will come to him for like $500. I don't think he's good looking at all either. But I said that about everybody, right? Like I don't think anybody here is good looking. Okay, then we have Demi. She started actually 8 years ago. She's an assistant manager, and they actually find this one scene from season 8 where Sheena's sitting down with Dana and Charlie and Demi walks by and they like clock it. And I was like, oh, that's awesome, right? So yeah, she genuinely works there. Now she also has a past with Paulo. Okay. So she dated Paulo as well. And we'll get to the crossover in a second, but like, how funny is that? Because how nostalgic, right? The whole like Peter, Stassi, Kristen thing, right? It's so synonymous with that. It's wild that there was actually another like like triangle situation that happened at Sir. I mean, I guess it's not that crazy, but it's crazy because later on we'll find out Demi and Natalie are actually quite close friends. So in that vein, it's kind of crazy. So then we have this girl, Audrey, who we didn't get a lot of info about, but she's like young, hot, and blonde. And she says that everyone who works at Sir is trying to make it in the entertainment industry, and she wants horror roles. Now, the producer asks her to give her best like death scream. It's pretty good. It was pretty good. It was pretty. It reminded me of Lala. Sorry, I can't stop comparing. It reminds me of like Lala when she was doing like her horror films. What was that one she did? That she had everybody come see. I forget, but like, yeah, that like, what do you call it? Those straight to video horror movies. So then there's this other girl, Kim, and the only thing we know about Kim is that she's dating Marcus. That's it. Demi says that all there is to Kim is that she is dating Marcus and is in love with Marcus. So Marcus and Kim are dating, by the way. And Venus says that they fight every single week. Kim says that when she started working at Sir, Marcus was sort of like a makeout bandit, which again, funny term because Peter has called himself the makeout slut. By the way, Peter does still work there as a manager, but you don't see him at all in this first episode. You do see Israel Isaac, who was in season 11 a little bit. But other than that, you don't see him at all. And we talked about this a long time ago. They weren't willing to pay him, and that was it. But it's crazy that he actually still works there, but he's not on the show. Marcus says that everyone at Sir wanted to fuck your boy. So again, I just don't see that in him. Like, I don't, he gives me like Urkel. Urkel, that's what he looks like. He gives me Urkel. So maybe he's just not my type, right? But like, that's what I always like, that's what I always find interesting when I find out that people who I'm not attracted to are actually models. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess. All right, so Lisa and Natalie end up sitting down about her going off on Paulo because she made a big like ruckus in the restaurant, and that's Lisa's job. She's got to sit down with the employees and like bust ass, right? So she says that she was yelling at Demi and Paulo, and she had to be kicked out. And in her confessional, she tells the camera that she really shouldn't be in trouble because, and she has this list of reasons in her phone. She says she's actually going through something right now. And by the way, Mercury has also been in retrograde this entire time. And by the way, she and her ex weren't really having sex. So maybe if she was getting laid, she would be happier. So she's the most immature person you've ever met in your entire life, right? But it's giving Kristen Doty, sorry guys, sorry. It's giving Kristen Doty in the sense of like, I'm not apologetic for causing a scene in your restaurant, Lisa. Like, this is who I am, and you should be apologizing to me, quite frankly. So she tells Lisa that she went into fight or flight mode, and Lisa ends up giving her a break, but tells her that she'll be keeping an eye on her, which, yeah, is Lisa's only role here, right? So listen, like I said, I hate Lisa, but she did her quote unquote job here. She sat them down for these meetings when they were bad. That's what she does, right? So it fit, it made sense. It didn't feel inorganic. And maybe ugh, I hate to say this, but we all said that she had become inorganic after several seasons of Vanderpump Rules because hey, they weren't working there, right? So it just didn't really make sense that she was around, and they'd have to create reasons for her to be around. So I guess the reason it feels organic is because it is, right? Okay, so then we hear about this guy, Shane. So Natalie met Shane through Marcus, and she was interested in him. But then Shane brings another girl to Sir this one night when they're all hanging out. And Shane had actually told Natalie that he would never bring another girl to her workplace, and that he did. So sounds like a great guy off the bat. He's sober, but he says that it doesn't stop him from clubbing and chasing women. He's addicted to women more than drugs, he says. And he met Natalie a few weeks ago at karaoke. Now, he calls her unstable but hot. And he says she's playing hard to get, so he brought this other girl to see what happens. So this guy is a complete dickbag. He's the only one who I would say is maybe a little fake in terms of how he's coming off on camera, because it's hard to tell because we don't know who they are. We don't know their baseline, right? We don't know who they are in their regular daily life as opposed to who they are on camera. But he came off a little fake to me. I could be wrong, but again, I don't really know him. That's also kind of like a real dick thing to do. She's not giving in to you, so you're trying to bring another girl around her. But again, these people are in their 20s, right? It's so weird to think now because when we were watching Vanderpump Rules initially, I want to say we were in the same age group, but we weren't. We were older. I would say for the most part, we were older, but still not this much older. Now it's like, this is like watching Southern Hospitality, which I really enjoy, but I think a lot of people don't because they feel like it's too young or they can't relate. And so there may still be aspects of that where people feel like this isn't relatable to me, so I just can't get into it. So the gang all go to the Belmont after work, which is so funny because that's such like a Vanderpump Rules staple spot to go to. It must be close to Sir or something, but I don't actually know because I've never been to LA. So Natalie talks to everyone about how she feels like Lisa is treating her unfairly at work because everyone is a monster and she doesn't do anything about it. I don't know, girl. Like, you came in there, you started a ruckus, you were yelling and screaming and swearing. But Demi does clarify for us, like I mentioned earlier, that Paulo was hers first. And Natalie says to the camera that, like, oh, well, Demi and I weren't really friends then. And like, didn't know what was going on with her and Paulo. But Demi says everyone knew that they were a thing. So yeah, that's our Natalie. Okay, Kim. So remember, Kim is the one who's dating Marcus. And Kim says that Natalie is one of her best friends in LA, but sometimes Natalie hits on her boyfriend. Again, that's our Natalie. So she was apparently sending him good morning texts. She was also sending pictures of her heels, which Kim said are like, they're called go fuck me heels or come fuck me heels for a reason. So she really didn't like it. And then Natalie and Kim end up getting in a fight at the Belmont because of Natalie and Marcus's friendship. So Natalie feels like they've been friends for a long time before anyone even knew Kim, and that she sees Marcus like a little, or Marcus sees her like a little sister, and that Marcus isn't into incest. I'm like, okay, Natalie, thank you for clarifying it for us. So Venus comes over to Kim's the next day to talk to her about the fight that she got in with Marcus about it. And apparently she was just like crying the whole night. He wasn't consoling her. So he ends up leaving. So then she calls him a million times. He doesn't answer the phone. So then he checks the GPS, does the little Sheena, like, find my friends, and finds that she is basically around the corner. So he lets her in. I don't know. And this relationship seems very rocky. I wonder how long we're gonna watch it because it doesn't seem very healthy. So Kim feels like Natalie doesn't understand what boundaries are, and there's no reason for her to establish a close friendship with Marcus. And, I don't know, right? They're in their 20s. And, women, though, have the right to have boundaries in their relationships in terms of what they feel is appropriate for female friendships, right? I mean, she doesn't really believe that Natalie and Marcus were friends for that long. She doesn't really feel like they have this long-standing established friendship. So she doesn't really feel like it's appropriate. And she feels like it's too flirty. And so I completely understand that. But from what we hear from everybody else, they fight like crazy. So I don't know how healthy their relationship is, anyways, outside of the fact that Natalie exists. So then we get this scene of Natalie in the studio, and I'm like, I'm loving this, right? Like, she's writing a song called Passenger about a guy she met on Hinge and then banged him. So she had to write a song about it. And her voice, like, this wasn't funny like when G Lily, is that her name? Grace Lily did it on Southern Hospitality, or even when Sheena does it. But her voice isn't good. It's like, it doesn't even sound like she's singing. She's just sort of like trying to get out more than a whisper. So it's not a great song. But Demi comes to meet her there, and she apologizes. What's her name? What's her name? It's wrong for me. Natalie apologizes for what happened at Sir, because it was Demi who ended up having to kick her out because Demi's the assistant manager. So Demi explains to the camera that sharing an ex actually brought her and Natalie closer together, but she wouldn't trust Natalie around her boyfriend, which, yeah, makes sense. We get a little bit more about Chris. He has this half cousin, Jason, who we meet, and Jason is also a twin. And these guys all look like exactly the same, and they all have these like solid, thick eyebrows. So when people see them, they just can't take it because it's like a lot of eyebrows. And I agree, it was like a lot of eyebrows, right? But give some over here. So Lisa calls this team meeting, and she calls out Marcus for drinking at work because this ended up being caught on camera by Natalie, not Natalie, Chaos Agent Natalie, but our old Natalie, right? Like Natalie and Guillermo Natalie. So Natalie catches it on camera. And so Lisa has to call him out for it, right? She ends up sending him home, and we'll decide later what to do about it. But yeah, this was the perfect Lisa scene to call the team together, to make sure they all know that she's the boss. And he even says, like, yeah, I mean, I did it, right? Like, I can't deny that I did it. So I guess I'm in trouble. I guess that makes sense. Now, she hasn't fired him, and I don't think she will, because it's literally like the first episode. She's probably going to give him some kind of warning. But, this sort of feels like a very quintessential first episode for a show like this, where it's like you sit down your staff, you're like, I'm the boss. You did something wrong. I'm going to make an example of you so that everybody knows who's in charge here, right? And it's Lisa motherfucking Vanderpump for some reason. So I don't know, you guys. I really enjoyed Natalie because she's chaotic. I am sorry, right? I enjoy that in my Bravo television shows. I'm not saying that I'd like go be friends with her or anything, but I think she's fun to watch. I also think Demi might be fun to watch. I can't really tell yet. I love the history that she has with Sir and the show. I think that might be interesting. Kim and Marcus, their relationship sounds like a roller coaster. That's been really interesting to watch. The only people I'm not really interested in are like Chris, Jason, Shane. Trying to see if there's any other people. I'm trying to remember all these people's names as well. Audrey, we didn't get to see much of, but I hope we get to see more of her. Everyone else, I'm like, oh, and Venus. Venus was cool, right? So Venus was cooler than I thought he'd be. So yeah, I'm into this show. I'm curious to see where it goes. Again, I apologize for enjoying it, but I hope you guys are here to join me on the journey. And I will be here every week covering Vanderpump Rules. So thank you guys for being here. And again, please subscribe to this YouTube channel, youtube.com/@the Bravo Investigator. and follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads at the Bravo Investigator. If you can join the Patreon, that would be amazing because I have lost my job. So it's patreon.com/the Bravo Investigator podcast. And I love you, BBs. I will see you next time. Thank you for listening to the Bravo Investigator podcast. For more content, head over to patreon.com/the Bravo Investigator podcast. Follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads at the Bravo Investigator. If you enjoyed the show, leave a 5-star review. Love you, BBs. See you next time.